took at the CRA, and we like to know, have some background information on that. That's fine. As to your contract, what's before us, 1, 2, 3, and 4 items, I cannot vote for item 2, and it would have to be omitted before. The other terms, you're going to buy off on that anyway. But whereas the board chairperson, along with the CLA, the city attorney, CAO, no. I think it's the responsibility of the city council to oversee that. We are an overseeing committee of the CRA. That's already been established by ordinance. So therefore, if that is in fact the case, then we should look at this very, very important agreement that's imminently or about to take place. So that's my view on that. As to the people who came before the committee, as I said to you, speaking on your behalf, all of the people who work for CRA, it was like self-serving, and I said that, and it should be mentioned here. The lobbyists who came to speak, and there were many of them, it was also self-serving and disturbing because they're lobbyists. They would be coming to you and to the board members and to us at different times asking for special favors. I had a problem with that. But it doesn't take away from your ability, given the case what it is, to do this job, as long as you can be fair and open-minded. But I must tell you that that was poorly orchestrated, in my view. Now, I can't, if you strike 2, go into closed session, come out, whatever you want to do, then I would not have a problem with that. I just don't want you, us, to impose on the incoming mayor this appointment and all this confusion that's going on there in non-CRA and what's likely to occur between now and the end of the term. I want to say one other thing. In this agreement, now you sitting there in the chair, you can't barely walk. I know what it's like. Now, if we give you a contract and then you go out on disability for a year or 2, you know, what does that do to us? I mean, I want to ask the city attorney some questions. Maybe I do that in closed session. I mean, you're going to have an operation, I believe, the way you're moving around. Like Ms. Goldberg, she recovered very quickly. I've been agonizing for 25, 30 years over this back. And I'm not, I guess there are those who wish I'd be disabled, but I'm not. But in any case, those are some of my concerns. I just cannot vote for 2. If you wanted, you read it, it's not important to you, then I move that we omit 2, or at least include in it that it will come back to the city council for ratification or their consideration, because we are oversight, Mr. Pacheco. We are the oversight. And I want you to respond to that, Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. Holden, that was such an eloquent speech. I will, I've been so moved, I will remove item number 2 from the motion.
Fuhrer?
All this poignancy is getting me teared up, actually. I want to say a couple things. You know, as we've gone through this process, I think it was Mike who referred to the fact this has been evolving over time. Because there are some balances that we're trying to strike as we are performing our oversight role. On the one hand, I think there's probably a consensus, perhaps a unanimous view among the council members, that of course, when looking for the permanent general manager of the CRA, we want to conduct a national search that could include, and should, in my view, include, but not be limited to, obviously, our interim general manager, to be sure we have the best leadership at the CRA. That national search needs to begin at some point. Question and balancing is exactly when is that. The other principle with which I agree, at least, is you can't continue to have an agency that's in disarray, that is leaderless, where the staff doesn't know to whom to turn for direction. So you have to try to find a way to preserve some element of continuity as that search goes forward. Now, I have not been that close to this. I understand that basically the original thought was maybe a 3-year extension of Mr. Charlin's term. Then there was extensive debate about a 2-year extension of Mr. Charlin's term. And now the action is narrowed even further so that what's on the table is, I think, 6 months versus a year, and the question, when does the search start? We continue to get closer and closer to establishing a consensus that all of us, I think, would like to see. I am of the view that the year extension irrespective of when the options are, but the year's extension is a sensible thing to do. When the search starts, be it 9 months, 8 months, 6 months, something in that range, that general territory is territory with which I am comfortable. The point that Ms. Mizikowski made, that it's important for us to not hire somebody too early on and not have a place that person to go and therefore lose that person, I think is a salient point. That's a good thought. So I think we're getting very close. Mr. Pacheco just eliminated one provision of 11D. I think we'd all like to get to a complete consensus here, but if we can't, I think a year makes sense, and something in the range of Mr. Pacheco's 9 months, a little bit less or more, it isn't that big a deal to me, is probably the right place to be. That gets us close to having agreement on the basic principles that have led us here in the first place.
Mr. Pacheco?
The one comment I wanted to make, which was something that Councilmember Hernandez brought up earlier, is one of the advantages we have right now with the process we're putting in place is that it's already public that we have an interim and are searching for a permanent person. We are just formalizing the process 9 months from now. So one could view it that the process is beginning today in terms of an announcement that we're going to have a new administrator at the CRA. It all depends on how you want to look at it. People can right now who have an interest start working and finding out exactly what it would take to be successful in the city of Los Angeles during this 9-month period. And when we open up the application process, they will be prepared. So I look at it as an opportunity to really start the ball rolling in the right direction.
Mr. Wax?
Where are we at? I will support Mr. Ridley Thomas' motion to go into executive session because I don't know what's going on with lawsuits. I'm one of these people who don't like to give any settlements in lawsuits if we didn't do anything wrong. And if we did do something wrong, I want to know about it before I decide this. Putting that, so I think it is relevant. I think Ms. Galanter basically made that point in the beginning about the relevancy. Setting that aside, you know, I think Mr. Charlin is a really good person to come in to do the job he was asked to do. And I think our discomfort level is probably less with him than an unwillingness to talk about the job that has to be done. And therein lies the really bigger issues. It's not Mr. Charlin. It's what we will or will not be willing to do and what policies we want the CRA to take as we go into the future. And that's something that is a debate that we have to have, and have to have it in public. But I think that, so I'm prepared to support whatever motion will give him the chance to do the job that he was asked to do and force us to deal with what it is that has to be done or should be done even, because there may be very difference of opinions as to the role of the agency, the scope of its undertakings, what it's capable of doing, what it's not, what it can do well, what it, you know, all of the things, political pressures, et cetera, et cetera. But for the moment, I do think it is relevant that we hear out at least what these lawsuits are all about and see if they have any relevance on the person. And once we decide that that is of no relevance to the person, we ought to go on with giving him a chance to do the job he was brought here to do.
Mr. Ridley Thomas?
Mr. President, I think a couple of things are relevant. Mr. Pacheco makes the point that the search effectively commences pursuant to this public discussion and notification. Mr. Pacheco, I think it should be appreciated that the council did determine that a search process was to be put in place, and there was an affirmative decision made to terminate that, as was indicated at our last meeting of the council when it was called to our attention that things got a little too busy and it was decided not to proceed, and the search firm that had been retained was told to hold off. I think a considerable amount of ground has been covered. Our executive session will be sufficiently illuminating, I think, and the question as to when the search ought to commence is, in fact, the issue in question now. Mr. President, as it relates to how we proceed. Several members have indicated interest in taking the matter in closed session and disposing of this item afterwards, and so I defer to you in that regard. We can do that now.
Mrs. Chair?
Yeah, I'd like to move the question and vote. Right? We're going to.
No one else wants to be heard, so the previous question has been imposed. Now, the first vote we have is Mr. Ridley Thomas is to lay this on the desk and
Yeah.
go into an executive session.
Right.
Prepare the roll on that. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. So we'll lay this on the desk and take up the next item. Hello?
Item number 17 is the Venice Town Council versus City of LA.
Waiting for the city attorney.
Mr. President?
We have people who want to be heard on this item. We have Dara Scher.
Yep. Mr. President, I was going to,
Bob Jacobs.
Mr. President,
Did
if
you
I
want-
could,
The microphone up there.
Mr. President, I just wanted to put this in context. I know Ms. Galanter is involved as well. We had discussion by our staff and the city attorney a few weeks ago about this. It's a proposed settlement in a litigation about the Mello Act, which is providing, the requirement of providing or preserving low-cost housing in the coastal area. The city has been sued, but the city has also been working both through the planning department and the city attorney with the plaintiffs in the suit and the plaintiff's attorney. The council members had a number of questions last time we considered this, wanted to look more into some of the issues raised, and also we wanted to hear from the folks who had brought the lawsuit to tell us their perspective on it. And so I think it's appropriate to move a public hearing and hear from the folks who are representing the issues at stake. And then the council was going to have a policy discussion, and I think then go into executive session. But so that, obviously, I think it's appropriate for the public hearing to begin.
Thank you. I'm Dara Scher. I'm an attorney with Western Center on Law. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you wait where the city attorney wants to be heard first?
Claudia Culling, City Attorney's Office. As you remember, we had a discussion in closed session about this, and you wanted to hear some of the issues that were of concern to the plaintiffs and other members of the public in regard to this matter. And we suggested that you have that public hearing, open public hearing. However, we would recommend to you, because of the nature of this lawsuit, that you have your discussion and any discussion with staff or the City Attorney's Office in closed session afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll proceed with the public hearing. Dara Scher.
Hi, I'm Dara Scher with Western Center on Law and Poverty. I'm one of the attorneys representing the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, and I have with me some of our plaintiffs and Bob Jacobs, my co-counsel. Thanks for the opportunity to address you on this issue. I just want to start by saying that I want to reiterate what folks have said, which is that we've been working very closely with city staff and city attorneys to resolve this issue, and we understand and are very appreciative of the fact that the council, as we understand it, is very supportive of the main goals of what we call the Mello Act, which is the requirement to protect and preserve affordable housing in the coastal zone. And we have, in fact, reached, as I understand it, major agreements on a number of issues with the staff and the city attorney's office that we understand have the support of the council, and we're grateful for that. There are, however, some areas of disagreement that I wanted to take a look at. It is perhaps best to break down the requirements of the Mello Act into two pieces for this discussion. One is the requirement that all new housing in the coastal zone include an affordable housing component. That's the state law. And we have, in fact, reached significant agreement with folks that units of a significant size will be required to produce and include an inclusionary component. The area of a disagreement, as I understand it, is there are some technical requirements that need to occur, and one of them is the amount of an in lieu fee that could be charged to developers instead of building housing units actually on site in their development. The city had wanted to include some kind of in lieu fee alternative that would be used to go into a housing fund to support development of housing. The city wants to do a study of the amount of the fee. We support that entirely. We think and have proposed to the city that there be a process of a study and an enforcement procedure. There are a number of other technical issues that they want the consultant to look at. The real issue for us is what happens in the meantime, because we are on a daily basis having properties being addressed in the coastal zone, and our concern is that we need to have the city adopt immediate standards and procedures to protect housing in the meantime.
We have a limited time, so let's hear from Mr. Jacobs.
Mr. Councilperson, I would defer to Ms. Schur so she can finish, but thank you.
She's going to speak for you?
Yes.
Okay, so, wrap it up. It's been for 4 or 5 minutes so far.
Okay, so our concern is that we would like the city council to absolutely impose and instruct the staff that we have standards in place that are protective of affordable housing and are protective of inclusionary housing during the time period in which any studies or ordinance process goes forward. That is our biggest concern. And we have suggested to the city that they maintain the Coastal Commission standards that the city adopted on an interim basis in 1982, and that those standards, which require a 6% inclusionary fee, be maintained until such time as the cities can come back with a study and a proposed ordinance. And that is our biggest concern. Our second concern that I want to address real briefly is the opportunity to have the consultant process be an open process with a neutral consultant who has not been part of the litigation and who's available to both sides for consultation. I think those are our two issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The public hearing is closed. Ms. Sikowski?
I think the city attorney has advised that our discussion should be in executive session.
Okay, then I think everything we have left is executive session. Okay, then let's clear the desk, and all those who are not involved with the executive session, please leave the council chamber. And those involved are the council members and the city attorney's people and the staff. So Sergeant, you can start moving those people out. What do we have left?
We have public comment,
Well, no, we have no cards. Public comment period is closed.
motions for posting and referral.
If there's no objection, unanimous vote.
The city attorney has advised that item number 41, which is a closed session item, can be continued until Friday, which is January 21st.
If there's no objection, unanimous vote. Sergeant, would you move those people out?
All right. Are we open? Okay, we are now back in open session, taking up item 11. We have multiple motions before us. Mr. Wax moves a continuance of 1 week. There's a second to that motion. All right, so that motion is in order first, and depending upon the outcome of that motion, we will take up the substantive motions that are pending. Open the roll on Mr. Wax's motion. Close the roll.
10 ayes, 1 no.
All right, the matter is deemed put over for 1 week. Well, if anybody wishes to move to reconsider, they could choose to do so, but as things stand now, that item is continued for 1 week. All right. Absent a motion, item 11 is continued for 1 week, and now we have what remaining?
The desk is clear, Mr. President.
All right, do we have matters for posting and referral? All right, public comment, already been taken care of. All right, do we have any adjourning motions? Okay, please rise. For adjourning motions, Ms. Chick.
On behalf of our colleague, Council Member Bernson, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Helen Ingle Weisgerber. She died January 17th and is survived by her husband, William, 3 children, Ann Weisgerber of Newhall, Bob Tanner of Reading, and Bill Tanner of Cheyenne, Wyoming. She served in World War II as an air warden and then became an investigator for the U.S. Army's Inspector General for the Far East Command in 1950 and received numerous commendations. She was one of the first women to ever seek elected office on the Los Angeles City Council. And Mr. Bernson told me before he had to leave that her husband, William, also many years ago was a candidate against Mr. Bernson for City Council, and clearly they have all become not only good friends, but the entire family has been supportive of Mr. Bernson and very involved community activists in the 12th District.
Thank
She
you,
will
Ms.
be
Chick.
missed.
Ms. Goldberg.
Yes, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Enrique Eduardo Noguera Tinoco, but most of us just knew him as Enrique Noguera. He was a long-time Hollywood community organizer and activist. He died in December from complications from AIDS. Enrique was a lighting architect for the movie studios and a founding member of the Hollywood Community Corporation. He served as a board member for 6 years. In 1995, Enrique served as board president. He also served on the board of the Hollywood Police Support Association, was a founding member of the Hollywood Sentinels, which was one of the earliest and most effective community watch groups that Hollywood has ever had. These are just a few of his accomplishments and contributions to our community. He was an important member of the Hollywood community. He will be greatly, greatly missed. He's survived by his life partner, Jeff McElroy, their son, Raul Antonio. He's also survived by both of his parents, 2 brothers, a sister, and a niece in Caracas, Venezuela. I had the opportunity to work with him for 6 years, really, more than 6 years, and found him to be just a amazing, amazing man, willing to share a lot of wisdom and views about design, and his interest in what would happen with Hollywood was not just on the commercial level, but also on the residential level. And he and his partner really were remarkable people. His partner, Jeff, and their son still live in Hollywood, and he will be greatly missed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Goldberg. Mr. Hernandez.
I just would like to join Mr. Goldberg in the adjournment of Enrique Noguera.
Very well. Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I'd like to join in memory of Ms. Myrtle Mallory, passed away December 26. She lived in the 10th District for a number of years and 5th grade teacher. Of course, she's just helped so many youngsters grow up in our community and well-trained and learned. It leaves 2 daughters, and certainly she'll be missed.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Any others? Mr. Wax.
Yes. First, I want to join with Ms. Goldberg on Enrique Nogueras, and I think you really used the right term when you said a lighting artist. He was really an artist and an amazing creative force, and even when Councilman Wu was the councilman, he had been working on projects in the community and really believed in Hollywood and was the kind of creative force that the city really needs, and he's left his mark even in a short time. I'd like the council to adjourn the memory first of Persida Ukropina. She is the mother of Jim Ukropina, who some of you may know, a lawyer at El Melvini and active in the community. She herself had been very active in her church and her community for many years and died at the age of 96. And I don't know if the council adjourned while I was gone in memory of Virginia Markham.
I don't think so.
Virginia Markham was a prominent newspaper woman, longtime resident of the Valley, graduated from Van Nuys in the 20s yet, and then went to UCLA. And her former husband, he passed away earlier. Ralph was at the time the owner of what we used to call the Green Sheet, and now kind of know as the Daily News. And she had been involved in the community and in professional activities for many, 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 many years, and also left her mark and will be missed by her family and friends. And I'll give the clerk the pertinent information.
Thank you, Mr. Wax. Call the roll, please. We are adjourned.